Tractate Bava Batra, page 161. Here we are in New York. God bless you. People who are here with us, people who are watching us all over. Thank you very much. Today is absolutely fascinating daf. It's a lot of subjects. Each of them have a lot of practical way. If we try to sum it up in very short, it's the law dealing with crooks, meaning how people try to forge documentations to fool the court, to circumvent the system, to circumnavigate certain rules and regulation, false witnesses, how to testify in the cross-examinations, and more. So, in a way, the idea of people use a forgery and different way of signature is nothing new. Obviously, it did not start in the 21st century, even not in 20th century or 16th century, when it was a time that they invented the letter of credit. It was way earlier, and the rabbis here in the Talmud, which is approximately 1700 years ago, already dealt with this and gave us so much enlightenment, understanding, and wisdom by dealing with this subject. Just a common example, you see people everywhere, they're buying car and they're putting the name of the father or the mother. And the reason they're doing that, it's because their father or mother, they either retired or in some cases, yes, like in the election, they're no longer among the living. And yes, I see on your faces you're smiling, but the reality is people does that. One of the reasons someone told me while I prepared this shiur, it's because when they get a ticket, right? When the police caught you and you get a ticket or whatever it is, so it's on your dad's name and he is in a senior home, so who cares? So the documentation, which called get, we try to search for forgery in that sense, that someone used his father's name to sign on certain documentation. And as we explained yesterday, when we use the term get, it's a common mistake that people think that get is solely and only for a bill of divorce between husband and wife. And as the Tosfot tells us at the beginning of this beautiful chapter, it's applied to any form of documentation. The Shiltei Giborim bring the Mordechai, who said the whole term of get, obviously it's mainly used for a bill of divorce. It's come from a special type of stone animal. It's like something in the low level of the ocean, and it's called gita. And basically he said megareshet chavrotea. So it's some type of a looks like a stone, but is one of those sea creatures that get rid of their friends. The Vilna Gaones, we learn in Tractate Gittin, say that the letters Gimel and Tet in the Torah, in a subsequent order, Gimel and then Tet, never appear, and that's the way Marit Al-Ghazi said. Since we're about to talk about forgery and about signatures and more, is a small subject that left from yesterday, and I get the email and also a phone call, so I want to just give a vignette in one word. We said yesterday that the Kohanim have the temper. So there are 2 points. First, for my grandfather, the Rabbi Elimelech of Lizhensk, the Noam Elimelech, my great-grandfather, he wrote in a book called Noam Elimelech, in the Parashat Mishpatim, he says, all this term that we said that the Kohanim involved with anger, he said, mitzad hakdusha, it's come from the positive, holy of their job, and it's based on the Gemarrah in Ta'anit, page 4, Hahu tzurva miderabanan vekaratach. It was a great Talmid Chacham, a Torah scholar, that gets kind of anger, so that's the Torah. The Torah, it's kind of ritcha deoraita, it's kind of positive. But while I converse with that fellow, I pointed out also that if you look at the language, it's not that they say that the Kohanim always are angry. They use the term atra de chahane avu. that was a specific location of Kohanim. And but the whole goal is that it's a get mekushar. It takes time until they produce the get, and therefore the Kohen have a chance to reconsider his intent to divorce his wife, because as we said yesterday, the moment he divorces his wife, unlike a regular Israelite, he cannot have her back since he is a Kohen. So anyway, we are on page, we're going to study page 161, but we start in 160b, 7 lines from the bottom of the page. So we learned yesterday the machloket, the disputation between two important rabbis. One is Rav Huna. He said that when it's come to the documentation, again we call it get, the witnesses sign at each time you fold the get, you fold the document, you have the signature of the witnesses. And according to Rabbi Ba'aba, he signed only at the end, מאחורי הכתב מבחוץ, and the back of the document, by the end of the text. There is a reason for that. As we said in the introduction, there is a lot of forgery. Guess what? If you let the signatories sign on the top and sign once at the beginning, guess what may happen? The guy can add all kind of things by itself. Soon you see examples, and he will claim that that's part of the documents. You may concern that the one who have this document, promissory note, or whatever the document, we call it get, can write whatever it is, since he already have the signature of the witnesses, he can do that. So they said, dichtiv bei sharir vekayam. The case is one that it's clearly written at the document, everything is confirmed and established. So every folded document must contain this type of very lucid formula at the very end of the text of the get, and that's the whole purpose of we are trying to prevent any type of forgery. And otherwise we don't take it as a valid document. So Gemara asks, "V'neichush dilma katav mai devai v'hadar katav sharir v'kayam acharina." How about a person that writes whatever he wants to, and then he put this word that it's confirmed and established, and then you cannot add anything. So they said, "Chad sharir v'kayam kadvinan, trei sharir v'kayam lo kodvinan." Which means the way that we establish it, we write in a document only one time that is confirmed and established, but not twice. And the Rashbam said that otherwise you see it as someone who examined it realized that it's a forgery. People, some people are unscrupulous, some people are crooks. So what happens is a person can expunge, can erase certain words, and then he writes or rewrites whatever he wishes to. So therefore, he may erase the word established and confirm and established, and writes something else, and then he writes confirm and established. והדר כתב כשר וקיים, אמר רבי יוחנן תלויה מקוימת כשרה. Rabbi Yochanan tells us that when you have this type of document, that it's include a suspended correction of text inserted between lines of the document, which is verified, it's kshira, and at the end of the document, you have to say that it's valid and it's not a fake, because that's the structure by merely fact that it's established. Page 161, Machak Pasul. He takes something that he wrote and he erases it and put a writing over words that was already erased. Do you know people like that? So, I see in your faces, right? I see that people here have a great time. All right. I'm going to tell you something in Israeli language. It's called Shuka Afor. about all these black markets that are using checks. Soon you see, relate to that. But anyway, ואף על פי שמקוים, even the part that was erased, it's verified, which means it's written at the very end of the document that Mr. So-and-so, he erased the word confirmed and established, ולא אמרו מחק פסול אלא במקום שריר וקיים וכשיעור שריר וקיים. So all of that applies only when it's in a place of the document where it is said in a very clear declaration. It's like a disclaimer. They said everything is confirmed and established, should have been written, and only if the erasure in the measure of a space in which the declaration, everything is confirmed and established. So when it's come to folded get, you don't have this type of concern that a person erased the word establish and confirm and writes whatever he wish, because this type of erasure is invalid. So now the Gemara comes and challenge the view of Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba. So Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba de Amar. So what did he say? He said that those witnesses of the get, that it's a folded get מקושר, they need to sign אחורי הכתב וכנגד כל הכתב מבחוץ. They have a very specific location they have to sign. They have to take the back of the written side, taking care that the signature are exactly opposite the writing on the outside. So leichush dilma katav migavai mai debai. So maybe he wrote on the back whatever he wished to. Umachtim sahadei yeteirei me'abarai, and he let the witnesses sign from outside. Leichush kativ migavai mai debai umachtim sahadei yeteirei me'abarai. So he basically forged the signature of the witnesses. ואמר ענה לרבות בעדין ודעבדי. As we learned several times, it's a possibility for people to sometimes add, that's called get kereach, that the people wants to promulgate something, so they add more and more witnesses. So the fellow said, you know what, I did all of that because I have a goal. I want to increase the number of witnesses, so the more to publicize the matters, that it's written in the document. Do you mean to say that the witnesses sign in a regular subsequential order? Which, no, the way that it's written, the way that the signatures take place of the witnesses, they start from the very bottom and they go up. Now I ask you a question. What's the purpose? What's the purpose of that? Like, the first witness have to sign on the very bottom, and he writes his name, right? And then each of them, the way the Rashash explained, each of them go higher. The next line, the next line, the next line, the next line. Rabbi Migash have a different view, but that's, we go by the Rashbam and the Rashash. So why people does that? Why? Because he cannot say, I add more witnesses, so safti edim, because there is a subsequential way of, the whole idea is he cannot forge the document. Why? Because imagine, if you have the first witnesses sign at the top, then things can happen during the writing of the documents, and the person can add all kind of things. Versus if the first witnesses sign on the very bottom, then it's impossible to fill up the form. You see the Ramban, Tosfot, they bring all the nuances of how people forge sometimes, and therefore that's the way to do it. You put it on the very bottom and you go up. So the Gemara asks, Veleichush dilma mitramya reuta beshita achrona. So may it happen that the very last line of that get, it written something opposing the owner of that document. For example, a term and condition that harm, Rashbam said, the owner of this document. And he basically cut the very last line. וגייז לראובן בעדי, and he also cut the word, for example, Reuven is a name that's written in opposite side, ומתקשר בבן יעקב עד. So usually the Gemarrah in Gittin, page 87, said that the person write his name, his father's name, and then they write, like you see in the Ketubot, right? Ed, I'm the witnesses. So that's a kosher signature. Ditnan, as we said, we learn in Tractate Gittin, page 87b. If someone sign a get that's written Ben Ish Ploni Ed, he says son of Mr. of Yaakov, for example, Ed, he did not use his name, kasher, it's still by force of circumstance, because the Rashbam explained the Bet Din, the rabbinic court, to recognize the signature of that individual and therefore match it. Dichtiv Reuben Ben, the Gemara said that the way it's written, that they put enactment to write within the formulation of get mekushar, this get, Reuven Ben Bechadara, which means in opposite to the first line, it has to be Reuven, son, and then it's written V'Yaakov Ed Ilavei, and then on the top of that. So when I study it, I was thinking so much about the Gemara we study and both in Gittin and Kiddushin, page 6, they said that Kol she'eno baki, if someone is not familiar with Torah Gittin v'Kiddushin, that is not familiar with all the nuances when it's come to the law of marriages and divorce, al yehilo esek imem, should not engage with that, because as you see, it sometimes can ruin the future of people if you, in lack of responsibility, do something that it's not right, and then people can suffer. Anyway, so maybe he cut the word Reuven's son off with the line that it's crossed for that line, ומתקשר ביעקב עד. So basically by saying Yaakov Ed, so it means that Yaakov himself signed that document. So that's, by force of circumstance, it's okay even you don't see the name of the father. Ditnan, that's what we learn in the Mishnah, Ish Ploni Ed, Kasher. We learn that so and so witness without mentioning his own name. So we said, guess what? The document is valid. So the Gemara responded and said, no. The reason that the sages, the Chachamim, put such a decree of get mekushar, that you don't write the word ed, witness, after the signature, is the lo ktiv ed, that the word witness is not written after the witness name. So you see, you have here a get mekushar, a tied document, is valid only if the word witness does not appear after the signatures. It is only in such a case that the document cannot be materially changed by existing the final line without rendering the witness's name disqualified. Now, usually, if you have a name of a Ed and you have his father's name, so you don't need to add the word witness. That's the Beit Shmuel said in Eben Ezer Kuf Lamed. Because the whole question is what it is intent. But here is another teirutz, is another explanation. Ve'i ba'i teima, you may say, le'olam de katav ed. You can say that actually the witness did wrote the word ed. Ve'i ba'i teima, le'olam de katav ed, yadin haba de achatimot yada, page 161b, lav de Yaakov hu. So here, the idea that he writes the word witnesses, like witness, like idea, by the end of the name, but the word Yaakov is not Yaakov's signature. So the Rashbam said the reason is in that location there is no one by the name of Yaakov. The Ritva, you see it also in Yad Ramah. By the way, I have a member here that have the original manuscript of Yad Ramah. Anyway, so there are those who said that the Bet Din do not recognize that signature that it's Yaakov. But again, there is a variation of what Ritva and other V'dilma bishmei de'avu achatam. So remember in the introduction we said that somebody buying a car and put the father's name, we want to save himself from tickets or whatever it is. So this fellow, he signed by the name of his father, Yaakov, and in those days, Rashbam said that he did it in honor of the father. Tosfot have a different view, but the key is, it's a paved the way to say that Yaakov ed. So the Gemara said, no, lo shavik inish mei didei v'chatim bishmei de'avua. I would say that's more in those days, because unfortunately you see it, people does that. But here it said this is not done. A person does not discard his own name and sign using only the name of his father. Maybe he made just a type of symbol in honor of his father. The Rav Tzayer Kavra, here was several examples. So he said Rav used draw a fish. You ever heard such a person? Instead of signing his name, he draw a fish, and that's basically his signature. Rabbi Chanina Tzayer Charuta. Rabbi Chanina, so he used to draw a palm branch as his signature mark. Gemara in Gittin, if you remember, we learned that in page 36. People does that. Rav Chizda, he used to write the Hebrew letter Samech. Rav Oshaya, Ayin. Rav Baravuna, Machuta. So he used to do a sheep's mast. So anyway, that's the way that they do it. So they said, Lo chatzif inish leshav lishmei davua simana. A person is not so obnoxious, rude, that insolent, that uses his father's name as in a distinguished mark. So one friend is a banker for many, many years, told me that unfortunately people do that. They write all kind of sign of different animals, and in the bank, he says, they knew that it's checks that come from that black market when they have those signature on the checks. Anyway, there's a book called Toldot HaAmoraim by a great Rabbi Yechiel Michel Stern. So he talked about Surat HaChatimot, how they used to sign names in those days. He brings the pasuk when Yosef was blessed, v'yidgu larov b'kerev haaretz. So it's written larov without vav. So he brings the idea that one of the signs is Leviathan. That's a sign of end of the days, Acharit HaYamim. But he goes at length to say that Rav signed that way because he was afraid from Ayin Hara. Remember that Gemara that said that 99% of people die for Ayin Hara? So anyway, there was all kind of reasons why people signed the name in this way. I wish to have more time. Maybe tomorrow I'll tell you a story about a shamus that never knew how to sign his name. So he used to have some type of alternative suburb. But anyway, מר זוטרא אמר, למה לחכו לאי? כל מקושר שאין עדיו קלין בשיטה אחת, פסול. So say, why you need all of that? He says, when you have any type of tie document whose witnesses do not end on the single line, is not valid. So they said, אמר רבי יצחק בר יוסף, אמר רבי יוחנן, כל המחכין צריך שיכתוב ודין קיומי הון. He said that any place that you see that it was a place in the shtar, in the document that was erased, and then something else was written. You know the Mishnah in Ava that said the niyar machuk katuv, that something was erased and then you write something at the top of that. So therefore you need to have the witnesses, and they need to spell out in their witnesses clearly that's all about. I heard from one of my colleagues, Rabbi Shaked Buhadana. It's a great Sephardic rabbi in Israel. He attended wedding, and it was the Rosh Yeshiva, one of the really luminary rabbis, that he wrote a ketubah, he filled up a ketubah, and he made a mistake. So obviously he crossed it, he erased it, and he wrote, but he asked the witnesses, one of them was Rabbi Buhadana, to sign there. So it means that here he needs to add clearly that this teiva, these words, so and so, is that on the top of something that was erased, it's totally clear, confirmed, and the witnesses sign. Otherwise, people say that, you know what, this guy erased and wrote, and it will be a serious concern about forgery. So that's the idea of making it as a clear verification. So that is, he must list the erasures stating that on line number so and so and line so and so that it was erasure, and correction stating such and such for each one. So that way people not be so suspicious that something is wrong. I would like to share with you in conclusion a beautiful Rambam, Hilchot Malveh Veloveh, chapter 27. If a document has erasures, or marginal, or interlinear corrections, or words that have been crossed out, all such correction must be verified by the very end. Remember this word, the end of the document. Before the words Akol Sharir Vekayam, everything is confirmed and established. The Rema on Shulchan Aruch Shel Mishpat 45, citing Tosfot and Mordechai rules, that it is not necessary to write the specific word, and this is their verification. But as we said, as the story we just mentioned from the Rosh Yeshiva, it's better to be safe and clear and avoid people thinking that it was somehow some form of hiding something. People raise their brows, the questions, etc. That in a way you're on a safe side.